quota filled.
Alright, what's good everyone? Hope all is well. In this video, I'll be breaking down how I withdrew $15,000 from Apextraderfunding, and overall going to be breaking down the trade that has allowed me to get to payout threshold. Now today specifically, we have caught longs. As we can see right here, I had caught the AM session low and at the time was targeting what was the current high day. As we can see here, proof as always, today I had finally reached $11,000 in profit. Now when it comes to Apextraderfunding, you have to have $9,000 in profit in order to withdraw $3,000 per account. I'm currently copy trading across 5 250k accounts. So this was the overall trade. This account is the one in highest profit. My other one, my smallest account of Apextraderfunding, just due to a copy trading error that I had a few days ago, or like sometime last week, simply had put that down just a little bit less than the largest one. So I had to make an extra $2,000 today. I would have withdrawn last week, but I had to make a little bit extra on one account, and I just want to cleanly withdraw them all at the same time. So anyways, this was a trade on the Apextraderfunding on my live account. I had held the entire way. I probably could have just sized down on my Apextraderfunding accounts and held until my drawn liquidity, but I wanted to make sure that it would hit take profit and just be, lock it in as soon as possible, because some of my accounts were already past the payout threshold and I really did not want to wait too much longer. It was simply just one account that still needed a little bit more profit, and that is why I had taken profit earlier. Now, you might see that there's two different executions, and that is true. Initially, right here, when I had taken the screenshot, like the moment I had taken the screenshot, we had dipped down like 10-15 points. I'm like, screw this, I'm just going to sell, look to it for a continuation entry. Reason being is because I don't want price to magically reverse one tick before my take profit, stop me out, and then just put me in a bad mood for the rest of the day, just because it's like I was that close. I was one single tick away from being at payout threshold, and then all of a sudden I'm stopped. Obviously, I wouldn't get emotional from that, but still, it would be such a pain if that were to happen. Anyways, I sold there, simply played continuation roughly around here, as we had a 1 minute CISD, price is very clearly drawn towards the current high day. That was my drawn liquidity, so I just simply scalped it with the same size, 1-to-1 risk reward, and that had got me that final $400 I need for a clean $2,000 day. Now, of course, these are the entire statistics for today. I'm not going to cover anything else, but in the rest of this video, we'll be breaking down the trade I taken. We'll do that at the end of the video, and before then, we'll be showing you guys the full trade recording and over what had led up to me taking longs. So, hope you guys enjoy.
Couldn't see your eyes, they were up inside. When you asked if I could see, I was pulverized. Sat in overdrive, test and recognize. I know what to do. Then come back for you. I know what to do. Apextraderfunding. Couldn't see your eyes, they were up inside. When you asked if I could see, I was pulverized. Sat in overdrive, test and recognize. Couldn't see your eyes, they were up inside. When you asked if I could see, I was pulverized. Sat in overdrive, test and recognize. When you asked me for some more, I was energized. Couldn't see your eyes, they were up inside. When you asked if I could see, I was pulverized. Sat in overdrive, test and recognize. I know what to do. Then come back for you. I know what to do. Then come back for you.
Alright, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that trade recording. Now we're going to get into what I posted to my private group, what we were looking for going into market open, what I posted in pre-market. And as we can see here, to overall summarize everything, I said going into today, we would like to see, logically speaking, it's only going to be logical to be bullish until the new log is filled with no bearish SMT. So in the most simple format, we have SMT at the lows, as you can see right here, no SMT at the highs. With that said, additionally, we had a unmitigated, or I guess unfilled new log above us. Alongside that, I had stated that a reasonable draw on liquidity would be EQ of the previous week's range as well. Going this market open, I said that reasonably, if we're going to get an entry for longs, and if that's going to be a high probability entry, we want to see some sort of dip at open. Ideally, if one of the indices can reach EQ of the daily range. EQ of our daily range is found here to here, as we can see right here, daily low to daily high. Market opens, and then as I said before, then if not EQ the range, then looking for a microcycle DFR cracking correlation. That is simply a lower time frame cracking correlation, specifically a DFR cracking correlation to then send price higher. However, that was not ideal, as realistically, if we were going to form that, we would still be nearly entering at high day. So the best case scenario for us was a dip down all the way into discount to then form a bullish setup. Now, fear, why were you looking at longs today compared to shorts, even though we had a bearish, again, that's not bearish, but even though we had dipped at our weekly open? Reason being, if we zoom out on the higher time frame, and in fact, let me just go to YouTube and go to my most recent video. If you've not already watched this video, this is a huge aspect of why we're bullish. I said validating, or not this one right here, trading power 3 market maker models above all-time highs. I've stated specifically in that video that on the higher time frame, we're within a clear daily market maker buy model. So bias overall should be bullish. We should be looking for longs going in every single week, every single month, ultimately until that bias is disrespected. As of now, everything on the daily time frame and above is extremely bullish. We have had no daily CISD to the downside to then validate price to seek lower. So overall, going into today, we should still be focused on longs. That was then confirmed through the SMT that we had overnight, which then led us to market open, where we had a London reversal after forming SMT with the Asian low. From there, we displaced higher, leaving a somewhat unbalanced on range. It wasn't really unbalanced, but if we were going to get a optimal entry for longs, we would have to see some sort of dip at market open to then validate that. And as you can see, market opened immediately dropping on NQ. NQ drops all the way down into discount of the range, holding SMT with the 7 a.m. low. Now this SMT was being held by ES. Now initially this SMT was already there prior to market open, as YM had already dropped below the 7 a.m. low during 9 a.m. However, again, we can't really trade based off of that if price is all the way up here. We can't necessarily just enter long at high day. We still have to wait for some sort of an optimal setup, and the only reasonable entry that we can get is going to be that in which is in discount. So anyways, we had SMT at between the London and Asian low, market dips. We then have SMT with the 9 a.m. and 7 a.m. low. Now specifically, this is a huge aspect as to why I had entered this position. As we can see, as price dipped into discount, we mitigate the 75% mark of the daily range. Now, as I've talked about in the range video, wherever that is, ICT dealing range versus candle ranges, as you guys know, these are the 3 levels that we focus on. At each level, we can see high probability setups form. Now, these levels alone don't dictate whether or not we're going to enter long or short. It's not going to dictate an entry, but it can act as a level in which high probability setups can form. And as we can see, as price dips down into discount, mitigates the 75% mark of the range, we mitigate that, we test that 15-minute CRSD, as I pointed out in the pre-market analysis, as we can see here. Now, at that point, we can also see that we had then formed, after having the SMT between the Asian low and the London low, the 7 a.m. low and the 9 a.m. low, we then form SMT with the previous 15-minute low, as we can see right here. Now, having both of those together, that then validated me to drop down to a 1-minute time frame, and on the 1-minute time frame, we can see very clearly here that there is really no optimal entry for longs on the 1 minute. If you're going to wait for a 1-minute CISD, such as up here, it's like, okay, you're going to put your stop loss at the swing low that's protected, you're going to put your TP at the high, and you're not even looking, you're barely looking at a 1-to-1 risk reward. Same thing if you're looking, and that's what I said CISD. If you're going to enter off an inversion here, it's like you're barely looking at a 1-to-1. If you're looking at a 1-minute CISD, it's like our 1-minute CISD is all the way at the high of the day. And you obviously are not going to enter a 0.2 risk reward entry. Obviously, your stop loss there probably wouldn't be all the way at low day, but I'm just showing you guys how unrealistic any sort of entry on the 1-minute time frame was. So due to that, I then dropped down to a 15-second time frame and entered simply off the next 15-second CISD. You'll see that in the recording that I showed you guys, I was pointing out very specific criteria. You'll see with my mouse, pointing out that 15-minute CISD order block, 75% mark of the range. You guys saw that all in the recording, and then dropped down to a 1 minute, nothing clear on the 1 minute, dropped down to a 15-second, entered off the 15-second CISD. Now again, you guys cannot be bearish in these scenarios. And overall, here was the position. I got filled a little bit higher just as market was moving fast, but the optimal entry was a 15-second CISD. And as we can see, we ended up playing out completely. I put my stop loss break even just once the sub price accumulated in here, right above premium of this sell-off range, or I guess the 9 a.m. range. We were accumulating right above premium, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna move my stop loss break even. Realistically, if we're bullish, we should just continue to expand. So move my stop loss break even and just removed all risk. Additionally, I was also up around 50, 60 points. So it's like at that point, we're already halfway to my TP. Realistically, we should not come down to my entry unless we're gonna put in a new low. But what I'm getting at here is, let's let it play out. So what I'm getting at here is, why could you not have been bearish? Obviously, there's going to be some people who did take shorts here, but according to my model specifically, why could we not validate shorts at market open? Why did I not take shorts at market open, even though I wanted discount of the range? In the most simple aspect, the most important thing that comes with my trading is SMT. More specifically, a specific time-based SMT, and that was not found at high day. On top of that, higher time frame narrative is bullish. Our external drawn liquidity is higher. we have low resistance. Okay, so most simple ICT format, we have high resistance liquidity below us, as there's S&T at this low, S&T at this low. We have low resistance liquidity at the highs. In the most simple ICT format, the foundational stuff, you are essentially gambling, trying to short, and it's just simply more logical to try to long. You are going to have a much easier time trading longs as you're in line with the higher time frame order flow. You are trading the higher time frame low resistance liquidity compared to shorts, where with shorts you're fading the higher time frame order flow. You are trading high resistance liquidity. It's just against you. Obviously on the 1 minute time frame, it is 1 minute low resistance liquidity, but it's like at the same time, we aren't focused on the lower time frame. We're focused on the higher time frame first, and based off the higher time frame, that validates us to trade the lower time frame. But most simple aspect, no bearish SMT at the highs. That was time based, so could not validate shorts, and most importantly, higher time frame narrative was very obviously bullish. So that's an overall summary of today's trade. And of course, this is my piece, my model. I didn't target anything after that. The only other logical high that I could have targeted was the pre-stay high, and I had actually stated that as I was in my position somewhere back here. I said, let's see specifically. Okay, I said here. So I said only selling at the 9 AM high, as that is the clearest level of liquidity that we are drawing to. In terms of time, the only other reasonable drawn liquidity is the Friday high, aka the pre-stay high. But because I'm very content with 102 points, that's just the average take profit of all my trades, I was just going to lock in profit at the clearest level liquidity that we're drawn to, specifically because it was a no news Monday. So I can't really expect us to expand like absolutely crazy when there is a lack of volatility. News, specifically high impact news, injects volatility into the fact that there is none today. I could not be 100% convicted behind seeing price expand a ton past my TP. Obviously we did. It was very slow expansion, but we did in fact do so and reach the pre-stay high up here. But nonetheless, I don't care. I took my piece, and that's all that matters. Now, that is the overall recap of today. However, there is some stuff I want to talk about, and that's just the private education within my server. So as of lately, I realized that a lot of the older WAP education, and for reference, we have about 30 lessons on the WAP so far, all of which covers everything in regards to how I trade, specifically everything in regards to quarterly theory. On the WAP, we go through all the concepts, and initially I had stated that what I update, I stated that none of the old info is incorrect. It accurately goes over what I want to cover. However, they're not nearly in depth as the new ones that I'm currently working on. Halo's also currently working on will be. Now, the reason the old ones weren't as in depth as the new ones will be is because the old ones, the original mindset with those is that we want you guys to just learn the basics of the concept through the foundations of the concept through the WAP, through chart examples, and then the actual learning is going to come through attending the live calls, watching the daily recaps, watching our trade reviews. However, I realize it's like we want to give out the most quality education that we can. So due to that, we are literally updating everything. Everything is going to be updated in depth. Everything is going to be in depth, such as this. So far, we have specifically 27 lessons, all of which are going to be in very similar format. My format is going to be something like this. As of now, I've already gone back, updated, I think 7 videos so far, all of which are in this format, all in depth, show chart reviews, live examples, trade reviews, all of that. I think I have about 6 left. Halo is going to be doing his half as well. So ton of education updates. All of it's going to be so much higher quality. Honestly, if you guys genuinely want to learn how I trade, feel free to give it a single month. Try it for a single month. You'll be able to learn majority of the concepts, let alone my model specifically. Like, my model is already found within the server. You don't have to go through the WAP. You can find my model in the server if you are a part of the inner prospects. And it's like, you can give it a month, learn my model, learn the concepts behind it, and, you know, go screw off for the rest of the year while you backtest, collect data specifically on my model. But of course, that's all up to you. If there's any questions regarding anything I talked about in today's video, anything in regards to the private portion of the server, please feel free to list those below in the comments below, or join the server, the free portion, ask in there, or just DM me on Discord. You can see my username is right here. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys all in the next video, and I hope you guys enjoyed.